Are you standing at the brink of God's promises, wondering why the blessings you've prayed for seem so distant? Have you poured out your soul to Him, only to feel as if the heavens remain silent? What if I told you that God isn't withholding your blessings, but instead preparing you to receive them? As C.S. Lewis wisely said, God intends to grant us what we truly need, not merely what we think we want in the present moment. He is a compassionate Father who longs to bless you abundantly, but before that happens, He must mold you into a vessel strong enough to bear the weight of His glory. This transformation comes through 3 significant tests, trials designed to refine and ready you for the extraordinary destiny He has planned. What are these tests, and how can you navigate through them successfully? Stay with us, because in this message, God is unveiling the crucial steps you must take to unlock His promises. Trials are not optional. They are an essential part of spiritual growth and transformation for every believer. While the journey may often feel like an uphill struggle, it is precisely within these challenges that your faith is strengthened, your character is refined, and your destiny begins to unfold. The road to heaven has never been an easy one, and it certainly is not lined with comfort and ease. Instead, it is paved with trials that challenge the depth of your trust and the endurance of your faith. But here is the greatest assurance. These trials are preparing you for something far greater than you can currently fathom. The psalmist wrote, "For you, God, tested us. You refined us like silver. You brought us into prison and laid burdens on our backs. You let people ride over our heads. We went through fire and water, but you brought us to a place of abundance." Psalm 66, 10-12. These words serve as a reminder that God uses hardships to refine us, just as fire purifies gold. Though the process may feel overwhelming at times, it is a necessary stage to prepare you for the blessings ahead. As C.S. Lewis insightfully noted, hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. The trials you encounter are not random, they are divine preparations for the abundance that awaits you on the other side. So, what are these 3 essential tests, and how can you overcome them? Watch until the end as we uncover the answers and reveal how God is orchestrating events behind the scenes to guide you into His promises. Instead of turning to God for assistance, the Israelites began to grumble. Instead of placing faith in His sovereignty, they doubted His capability. They even reached the point of wishing they had perished in Egypt instead. What an act of ingratitude. But that was not the end. God had to teach them essential lessons and refine their attitudes. Each time they failed a test, they had to undergo it again, making their journey all the more prolonged and arduous. God ensured they encountered difficult and challenging situations to teach them to depend on Him fully. They faced hunger, thirst, exhaustion, and numerous other trials, yet at each step, He intervened. Though they struggled with faith for a significant time, they eventually learned to trust Him. They began to see God as their refuge, provider, and sustainer. At this stage, He led them into the land flowing with milk and honey. As C.S. Lewis so eloquently expressed, God allows us to experience the low points of life to teach us lessons we could learn in no other way. Similarly, God may place you in situations where you feel lost in a wilderness with no visible means of support. But He wants you to trust Him, hold on to His promises, and believe that He will provide for you. Remember Hebrews 11:6, "And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him." God is not testing your faith to make you stumble, but to strengthen it and build your complete dependence on Him. This process nurtures spiritual maturity, allowing you to grow in your relationship with Him. He also seeks to determine whether you truly trust in His divine provision, or if you are still struggling with doubt. This is a crucial test to pass before He can bless you abundantly. The test of faith, God presents this test of faith in 2 primary ways. First, He assigns you a difficult task, one that might ordinarily cause you to grumble and resist. He may instruct you to undertake something that appears nearly impossible or irrational. Remember when He commanded Noah to build an ark despite no sign of rain? Or when He instructed Abraham to leave his father's house for an unknown land? Consider when He sent Moses to deliver His message to Pharaoh, the very Pharaoh Moses had fled from after killing an Egyptian. These commands seemed overwhelming, even impossible. Moses himself questioned his ability to face Pharaoh due to his lack of eloquence, yet he had to trust and go forth. God may not ask you to construct an ark or leave your homeland, but He will challenge you to pursue a goal or complete a task that even you deem impossible. Second, He may introduce a significant change in your life, one that shakes your world. It could be the loss of a job, a serious medical diagnosis, a strained relationship, financial hardship, or even the passing of a loved one. As it was with Job, you might question why such devastating circumstances must occur. However, these situations are not orchestrated by God, but permitted by Him to test and strengthen your faith through them. In such moments, your reaction reveals your trust in God's sovereignty. While you may be tempted to panic, waver in faith, or blame Him for misfortune, choosing to trust in His promises demonstrates true faith. Beloved, faith is not about believing only in what you can see. It is about trusting even when you cannot see, knowing that God's plans far exceed your understanding. Your life as a believer is anchored in faith, as you trust in an eternal being whom you have not seen with your physical eyes. Remember, as a child of God, you are called to walk by faith, not by sight. If God allows something unexplainable to enter your life, rest assured there is a purpose behind it. His ways are higher than yours, yet all for your good. He will sustain you, and on the other side of this test, He will bless you beyond measure. As C.S. Lewis beautifully expressed, faith is the art of holding on to things your reason has once accepted, despite your changing moods. The test of obedience. Just as faith is essential to our walk with God, so is obedience. Faith without action is incomplete, and true faith is demonstrated through obedience. God does not merely call us to believe in Him. He calls us to follow His commands wholeheartedly. When God instructed Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, Abraham obeyed without hesitation, even though the command seemed utterly contradictory to God's promise. His unwavering obedience revealed the depth of his trust in God's sovereignty. Because of his obedience, God provided a ram as a substitute and reaffirmed His covenant of blessing over Abraham's descendants.